Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Will, and we're going to be kind of doing something a little different. So I've been making a lot of how-to videos for like new streamers, new content creators, and kind of some simple things they can do to advance their, the quality of their content. And I decided to do something quite a bit different. I have a lot of experience in video games. I've been playing a lot of them for a very long time, especially the MMO genre. And IGN yesterday just launched their top 10 MMOs, as you're seeing right there. And the controversial part of this, and what's really going to weigh on a lot of people, is the fact that Final Fantasy XIV, in IGN's eyes, according to this, has surpassed World of Warcraft. So for the first time ever, a major reviewer has said that WoW is not the best MMO on the market. And it's going to spark a lot of, I want to say debate, but that's being civil. It's not going to be debate. It's going to be people harassing each other. So you're going to have Final Fantasy XIV players going, see, I told you so. And you're going to have WoW players saying IGN's a bunch of idiots, and they're going to be trying to burn down their headquarters probably. It's going to be a total cluster, I think, over the next couple of weeks here. Because IGN is a big timer, and they do, people do take what they say seriously. And I think they should have thought of that a little more before they pulled what I'm considering a publicity stunt with the way the market is right now. So I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're already aware of this. But there's been a huge influx of World of Warcraft players into the Final Fantasy world because the lackluster performance of Shadowlands and the previous expansions and the huge spacing between patches. I don't know 9.1's coming out soon, but it's been a huge lull for the game and the players. So they've been trying Final Fantasy XIV because if you're not playing the best, you might as well play the second best. That's kind of the idea that a lot of people have. So with this, though, they've now put themselves in a situation by ranking Final Fantasy XIV in first place. They have given them a bunch of ammo to use and kind of in defense of their game. And again, it's given WoW players something to be upset about. Especially, and for me, I am a Final Fantasy XIV player. So I'm going to say that right now. When I watched this, and as they went from game to game, so as they move from one of these to the next one, and I'll link the video in the description. I recommend going to watch it. They're very informative. They're short pieces. They're only a minute or two each, or not even a minute each for a lot of them, but they're informative. They say, this is why this game makes the list. It's done this, it's broke the mold here, it's broke the mold there. It's been a completely unique experience here and stuff like that. And all the way down to WoW, even WoW, because it's such an old MMO. It only really is outdated currently in terms of the large, like the still extremely popular RuneScape is pretty much the only one that outdates it. And that's in a big way, which is another important topic. They have forgotten a couple of key MMOs, namely RuneScape is not on this top 10 list for some reason or another, being that it's like the third or fourth most popular MMO currently played in terms of numbers. And Black Desert Online, which is also extremely popular. I can kind of see why they left Black Desert out because it is such an incredibly pay to win experience. Really, it's known for being a game for whales. So I can understand that if they left it out of that for those kind of reasons. But regardless, it's a very popular game and a lot of people play it. So it's weird to see that it's not on this list. So there's a couple of controversies when it comes to that. But then rounding it back to the World of Warcraft versus Final Fantasy aspect, it's clear that this was done as more of a publicity stunt. By ranking Final Fantasy ahead of World of Warcraft, they've put themselves in a position where they're going to create a lot of buzz, a lot of controversy, a lot of drama. I'm sure the comment section on the video is going to be exploding. I'm sure Reddit will be exploding in regards to it. So many aspects of the community are going to be affected by this. Whether it comes and goes in a week or two or not, it's going to be a big deal to a lot of people because IGN is a big network and they do have some pull and people do respect what they say for the most part. So my point of view on this is take it as it is. This is IGN kind of cashing in on the struggles that are happening at the top. So they're weighing in on that themselves. And by putting Final Fantasy ahead of World of Warcraft, they've created a much bigger event than if they would have put in World of Warcraft first. So if they had to put World of Warcraft first, it would have been like, yeah, of course, they've been number one for 15 years. But by putting Final Fantasy ahead of them, they've created that I'm extremely happy or I'm unhappy about this and let's talk about it situation that as a network they're looking for. You know, they want people talking about IGN in, you know, different videos. They want them talking about it in different, you know, forums, whether it's Twitter or Reddit or whatever it is. They want that going on. So take it as what it is. It's a network cashing in, being smart, and using the content for their gain, you know, to grow and get more clout, as the kids are saying these days. Yeah, I'm pretty hip. I get it. But they're doing that. You know, they're taking advantage of it, and that was obvious to me from this point on. So when they get to the section about World of Warcraft, which we're looking at right now, they're pretty descriptive, and they talk about how it's, you know, it was a game changer and it changed the world of MMOs, and moving from games like RuneScape and EverQuest to this was a huge game. This is a totally new game, totally new experience coming from those two worlds. And then when they get to the next portion on Final Fantasy, not so much. They do talk a lot about how it did an amazing job converting from original Final Fantasy XIV to A Realm Reborn. And when Yoshida took over, and, you know, it's been an amazing ride ever since. But that's really it. They don't really tell us what makes Final Fantasy XIV the best. And that's where it kind of goes back to, that's where it hit me. Like, this is kind of more of a publicity thing than like they truly believe this. Because if they truly believed it, I feel like there would have been a lot more content here in terms of, you know, they do, like, the job system is amazing. It's so unique and different, or, you know, the story is unmatched, or something along those lines. Instead of just going, oh yeah, the expansions are great, and they did a really cool job transitioning from a failed game to a not failed game. So in that respect, it kind of left me hanging, because I was curious. As soon as I saw World of Warcraft in second, it was obvious Final Fantasy XIV was going to be first, but I wanted to see that. I wanted to see, like, their opinion and what they thought, because it's IGN and they you know, they mean something. So that's kind of my hot take on it. I'm happy to see it. You know, I love Final Fantasy XIV. I love Final Fantasy as a genre. I mean, I literally can't see it because it's on my green screen, but I literally have a Buster Sword, like a full-size Buster Sword, hanging on my wall. So it's no surprise that I'd be happy to see this happening and see Final Fantasy XIV, you know, at the peak. And I will take this a lot more seriously, and you should as well, as someone who's interested in this topic, or if you're on one side of the fence or the other. I would care about this a lot more when you start to see more independent reviewers, when you start to see this happening month over month or year over year. Just because IGN came off this one time and did it, take it as what it looks like it is, and as a way to get the pot stirring. It's a pot stirring review. And it's not to say that Final Fantasy XIV doesn't deserve it. I think it does. I think I have found a lot more game in Final Fantasy XIV than I have in WoW. And it's just the way I feel. WoW's lore is unmatched. I've watched and read 300 hours of lore at least for WoW. It's the best there is. But when I sit down and play the actual game, if I'm not doing, you know, raiding, dungeons, or PvP, the three pillars as they're called, I'm not doing anything. And you just don't have that in Final Fantasy, and that's a big deal to me. So, you know, there's different reasons, you know, that's just how it works. Everyone has different opinions on it. But even as a avid Final Fantasy XIV fan, I'm going to take this as it is and say, although true to me, it's not necessarily the way it is. Don't take it as the gospel that IGN may be meaning it. And let's not let this rile the community and cause a bunch of more problems for everybody. So if you agree with me or disagree with me, let me know in the comments. Like the video, and definitely check out the IGN review. Read through it. It might even spark your interest in a couple other MMOs that are quite amazing. So this list does have some really good MMOs on it that are uniquely different. And if you are in that kind of WoW lull, I know 9.1's around the corner, but instead of just jumping straight to Final Fantasy just because you have to, try some of these other ones. There's some pretty cool ones on here. And yeah, let's keep the community alive. Let's keep the genre going. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.